Hey guys, so I made a video yesterday on inspired action and conventional action in terms of your manifestation, or in other words I like better, just becoming a different type of person who naturally creates the life that you want, that includes the things that you want. That's the only permanent way to get something. That's the only way that you won't just get something and lose it. I'm sure that there are ways people have done it where they manifest lottery wins or other windfall type of things that don't really belong with who they are right now. And it's legitimately nearly always gone, because if you get a lottery win and you don't become the type of person for whom having a large amount of money feels natural, you will blow it in the way that a person whose mindset is that of a broke person will blow it. All you have to do is look at the stories of lottery winners, who they were before and what happens to them after. I mean, this is, to me, one of the greatest illustrations that's available to you, like on the internet. Go read about what happens to people that win large amounts of money. They have their lives, just half the time they just go to shit. A bunch of them are bankrupt in like a few years. It's just, it's the perfect illustration of how your outer reality will match with your mentality, given enough time. It's like when you go to play blackjack at a casino. If you sit there long enough, you will walk away with 96% of your money, or whatever. I don't know what the exact amount is, but over time, everything will balance out to reflect what's the content of your mind, which is what self-concept is. Self-concept isn't self-love. It's not, I'm going to raise my self-concept, I'm going to raise my self-love and my view of myself. It's the sum total of everything that you think and believe and how you view things, and just basically everything that goes into your interpretation of the world. And so somebody left comments, a couple comments yesterday, asking about the self-concept thing. And so I'm probably going to have to make a different video on that and think about it a little bit first. This whole channel is basically about that. But there was one thing that I was thinking of yesterday when I made this video where I was talking about going from being an obese person to being a person at an ideal weight. There's a different mentality there, I think pretty universally. What that mentality is might differ from person to person, obviously depending on the rest of your self-concept as I just described it. You're going to have a different way of approaching, that particular area of your life. But a person at their ideal weight and a person who's obese have a different attitude towards food, 100% of the time. And I was saying, for me, at like a lower weight, I didn't want any of the same kinds of food. Maybe I would have an impulse here and there, but I didn't want that. Like, my gut overall, me, was just like, no, that doesn't match with this. I don't want that. And if I had a couple of times where I would take a little skate back into the dark side, where I would, just say, what, fuck this. I'm going to go back to that old behavior, and just this once, sorry, I almost quoted a nasty quote from Wedding Crashers, but just this once, just to see how it feels, just to see, just to test it. Is this going to be like, maybe I want to go back to that, or maybe like just this once, I'll like get the little benefit from it, and then go right back into being this new person. And it was just the most empty, like I was just like, man, like that was a complete illusion that was doing anything for me emotionally. It's just, it was just this empty, incongruent experience. And so, it just doesn't match at a different state of mind. Like, the behaviors that you're doing now that are producing the outer effect you don't like aren't behaviors that will match with the person that you're trying to become. They won't feel natural anymore. That's the thing. Getting from the point where the things you're doing that are creating your world the way you don't want and feeling natural, getting from there to the point where the things that you create the world the way you do want it feeling natural, That's the fucking trick here. That's the whole thing. Like, that's literally the whole thing. How do you get from point A to point B? You know, Neville Goddard says you just imagine it and persist in imagining it over and over and over again, which I agree with to an extent, because I think a lot of what has to happen is in the moment. And I think Neville Goddard does say this too, but people just like gloss over that. His lecture Fundamentals talks all about this. It's sort of a moment by moment. How am I reacting to my surroundings? You know, am I being that person? Like, am I that person? Am I embodying that person? And so for me, you know, like if I'm bargaining with myself about, you know, how many mini Charleston chews I can eat today and still fit into, like, you know, my calorie allotment, that's the fat brain. Like, that's, you know, the skinny brain is like, you know, totally oriented differently to what, you know, what I'm doing with food and stuff like that. And it's the same with anything else. It's the same with money or any other problem or whatever you're trying to, relationships, you know, you're going to be thinking different thoughts in relation to that thing when you've changed into the person that has the different outer reality. And being conscious of that is the first step of being conscious of what this is so much more difficult than people make it out to be. Read that lecture, Fundamentals. You know, being in the moment constantly, and especially with like regards to a specific topic, and constantly monitoring how you're reacting to that is a lot of work. And it's work that I personally think, from my experience, has to be done a lot of the time. Like, there's not just a flip of a switch from imagining how it would feel. You know, then when you're in reality and you're not in your 4D imagination going about your day, you're presented with all kinds of situations, and you have to figure out, am I behaving like the person? Is the reaction I just had the old me or the new me? Because if it's the old you, you know you're not there yet, and you can imagine more or consciously make the different choice, you know, embodying that state of mind in that moment. This stuff is not easy. And one of the little pitfalls, which was the whole point of this video, which is, I always get to my point like 8 minutes into the video. I've noticed this about myself. One of the things that I think people overlook, and, you know, this falls into the category of things that don't necessarily just get erased by imagining yourself in the state of a different person, is that often I think there are many comforting, positive associations with the state that you're trying to leave. And those are the things that I think can be like tricky. And you know, like if you're trying to revamp the way you look at money, you want to be more wealthy. You know, the go-to that most people would say, look at your bad beliefs about money. Money is the root of all evil. Money corrupts, you know, all these things that, if you really believe that, are going to be sort of a thing that keeps you in two minds about, you know, going from being broke to being wealthy. It like just kind of keeps you in limbo. And so you don't really make any change, because these beliefs are there, often just noticeable as kind of a feeling about it. You know, it can be difficult to take these just sort of like a feeling that you have about a topic and divide it out into all these beliefs that are creating the feeling. I don't know if that's really difficult for other people. I think I'm pretty good at that. I think that's why I've been pretty successful with some of this stuff, is that, you know, if you could take your feeling about something and start to think, what is this made up of? You'll get the big ones, and you can examine those and dismantle them rationally. You know, if you can convince yourself of something rationally, then at least it doesn't continue to come up rationally for you. You know, maybe you still have feelings about it, or maybe there's something deeper that then will have to be excavated via whatever means. You know, maybe imagining fixes that stuff. But like, when you just have a positive feeling, you don't necessarily notice there's anything wrong with that. Like, maybe you see virtue in being poor. Maybe, you know, you were raised in a way where that was instilled in you. Like we work hard, we don't have much, but we're happy. You know, like there's just this idea in your mind of something positive associated with money. Like you, with not having money, like, you know, good memories of being, you know, in a broke state. You know, I think we all kind of have, anybody who's ever been broke and then wasn't, you know, there are so many fond memories of like the times when things were rough, and there's always a sort of like some positive to be found in every situation. So getting rid of those is also something that will remove this, you know, like you're being torn by the two poles. Like, you know, I'm heavy, but I get to eat whatever I want. And, you know, it makes me protected from having to have certain social interaction. You know, there's always like a benefit to the thing that you're creating that you don't like. And those are the things I think that can be really hard to get past. I'm noticing this for me personally. Like I'm at this very comfortable place right now in my life, and most things are really good. And honestly, I'm not sure that I'm going to have to go into the intention that I had in mid 2020 about resolving all of my remaining issues with food and weight. It has been really interesting how that's played out and where I am right now. And like, as more time goes by, I'm feeling like I don't really need to do anything about it. But on the other hand, you know, like there's things that I want, like, Matt and I are getting married, and I decided I want a purple dress for whatever we decide to do. We still haven't figured out what to do. You know, we just put it on the shelf because of COVID for a long time. And I'm like, you know, I know I'm not going to enjoy shopping at my current weight. Like I'm cool with my body and like the clothes that I have and everything, but like shopping for me doesn't get fun until I'm about 15 pounds lighter than this. And so I'm really waffling between these two, like, okay, I know I want this, but you know, right now I really just don't feel like being uncomfortable in any way or like putting forth any exertion towards anything. And so I'm just like waffling, and waffling results in literally nothing happening. And a lot of people, I think, spend years and years and years sitting in this spot about something that nags at them that they want to be different. And, you know, you have to get rid of one or the other. And if you want to move towards something else, obviously you have to get rid of all of your feelings of comfort and desire for your current behavior and situations and who you currently are. That can be really rough. I mean, this is such a weird experience as a human, you know. You hate yourself and you love yourself, and you hate this situation and you love this situation, and life sucks, but then you're faced with your death and it's beautiful and meaningful. It's like, it's just this duality constantly, and making a big shift is really challenging because of, you know, the positives that you associate with, or just the virtue, maybe not even the positive, maybe it's not even a positive experience for you, but you know, your self-concept, your beliefs lead you to believe that there is a virtue or a value in your current state. This is just another little thing. If you're struggling, this could be it. This could be the thing that's holding you back. Realizing that, you know, you have to stop wanting the things that are in your current reality in order to be somebody that wants something else. You know, you can't serve two masters, as Neville says. It just doesn't work. It will leave you in the middle doing nothing, or it'll just drop you off on the one that's slightly more powerful, you know, a bigger desire. We've all experienced this, but all that to say that if you're stuck, you know, and you recognize that it's because of having, you know, you're like 51 on the side of staying where you are and 49 on wanting to be somewhere else, that's a place where you can actually do conscious thought and work it out, you know. Or the other option is accept that you're actually happier where you are. That's always an option, you know, accept that you're happier in the state that you're trying to change. However, I can say that I'm so happy I've had this weight experience of being higher than ideal, and then kind of like in my natural state, because a lot of the mental stuff about this has been coming to light in a more real way. You know, I find myself asking myself that question, like, am I really just like, is it just better to stay where I am right now rather than trying to get this thing that is, you know, better in my mind? Is it really better? And the truth is that, thankfully, since I was kind of like watching my thoughts throughout the whole thing, I remember being at a much lower weight, like 115, which I don't think I'd want to be again based on looking at some videos and pictures of myself. I'm just like, I think I was too skinny then. But I remember at the time thinking, you know, I remember just like the nights where I could like eat whatever I wanted, and, you know, kind of having a nostalgic feeling about like my previous behavior, and then thinking, no way, man, this is so much better. This is so much better. I remember thinking that. So at least I have the memory of that. So I know that at my lower weight, it was worth it. And I think not feeling like sure that it's worth it is another big thing that keeps people stuck in that middling 51, 49. It's that, you know, they're not really sure that it's worth it. So, you know, these are all things to look at when you're just kind of stuck. I think it usually is worth it. I think if you have a desire for something, it usually is a lot more worth it than you can connect to. And if you realized how worth it was by being in that state for one day for real, this is why the imagination is so powerful. If you can really get into it, if you could be that person for one day, I think you would know how worth it is, and it would shift you from 51.49 to 75.25 or something like that. Well, I hope you have a good day today. I feel like that was 17 minutes of rambling, but I hope there was something in there for somebody. Have a great day.